Yeah, check it out, right? We got right now the jury selection has begun in the Keefe D case. We talking about the murder trial against Tupac Shakur. Right now, the video is going to be about what would 25-year-old Tupac Shakur want? Would he want justice in court or justice on the street? That's what y'all have to decide and put in the comments. Let's go. Let's keep it moving. All right. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. All right, so we're gonna start this up. I wanna go for a ride. Let's go for a ride early. Now, everybody's looking at this like, oh, this is just Keefe D going to trial. Yo, this man is fighting for his life right now. He's 63 years old and he's sitting here battling an old 30-year-old case, and he's the star witness. What do you think is going through his mind right now? Now, we talking about 30 years of silence. We talking about an era when snitching was not even tolerated. Tupac ran the street. He stood on the no snitching. He stood on all that. We already know what it is. He ran on thug life. He had it tattooed on his stomach. Do you think that he would have wanted justice in the court or justice on the street? Put that in the comments. But now we talking about 30 years. Think about that. Not 30 days, not 30 months. 30 years is what we talking about. Tupac Shakur was 25 years old when those shots hit that BMW in Las Vegas. That was the night, right? But like I said, right? I just like to ride. That was the night my man Bruce Sheldon I was locked up with in Annandale. Like I said, big shout out again to Annandale. Was fighting. I was so proud to see him sitting there having that fight. But this is where we at right now. And could you believe I was sitting in 80X Supermax when that fight went on? I mean, come on, let's go. Now, we're sitting here almost 3 decades later, watching Duane Keefe D Davis go to trial. Davis, he pled not guilty, which we already know. Prosecutors, they accusing him of organizing a retaliatory attack and supplying the weapon. They don't accuse him of personally firing the fatal shot. But that's not what's bothering me right now. What's bothering me is what those 30 years exposed. Because somewhere between September 1996 and this courtroom in 2026, people got older, people died, memories faded, families waited, and the code stayed standing. Nobody talks, nobody tells, handle street business in the street. That sounded horrible, or should I say honorable, when we were young. Didn't it? Be honest, put in the comments. Didn't it sound honorable to hear a man say that I'm handling my business and nobody tells, nobody talks? But 30 years later, look at the bill. It's time to pay the piper. A mother lost a son. A family lived without answers. Men carried information into middle age. Some carried it all the way to their grave. And now the court is trying to reconstruct something that happened when some of these jurors probably weren't even old enough to understand hip hop. So tell me where loyalty ends when everybody connected to that loyalty keeps paying. Now, the jewel in that, Ron. Let's go. A code sounds powerful until you count everybody it wounded. If silence protects the code but destroys the people, who exactly won? Let's go into we already the breaking news, but now we're gonna go into showing this joint right here, right? Let's get into the music part.
Here, over the past couple of months, prosecutors have been building their case against Duane Keefe D. Davis to indict him in the murder of Tupac Shakur. And these photos and videos are just some of the evidence that was shown to a grand jury, helping them build their case.
New video shows Tupac Shakur and Marion Suge Knight leaving the MGM Grand after a fight involving a rival gang. The video, part of evidence shown to a Las Vegas grand jury, leading the panel to indict Duane Keefe D. Davis in Shakur's murder. The grainy video from a surveillance camera showing Shakur and Knight in the front of the entourage from Death Row Records. Just before, the two groups fought here by a bank of elevators. The fight over a chain like this, a necklace Knight gave members of his group for Christmas. Death Row Records spelled out in jewels.
And ultimately, our persistence in this investigation has paid off.
It's an investigation Metro Police worked on for 27 years. Prosecutors say some photos were on Polaroid, others on film. Photos like these of the BMW Tupac was riding in with Knight. Images shown to a grand jury include the car riddled with bullet holes. Prosecutors also showing where Shakur was sitting in the passenger seat in a photo of a car door with a hole through it. Other photos include the shooting scene at Flamingo and Koval, with cones representing where responding officers found shell casings. Prosecutors also showed the grand jury videos of Davis talking about the shooting, as well as several graphic photos from Shakur's autopsy.
Now, so you understand, this is some real it's going on right now. Man fighting for his life. Now we're going to talk the code we grew up under. That's what you got to understand that the jury don't understand. See, young brothers watching today don't fully understand what 30 years ago felt like. I lived it, I breathed it, and I smelt it, and I defecated it. There wasn't a camera in every court, in everybody's pocket. Everywhere you go, there's a camera. Everywhere. Now, let's go, right? So, there wasn't no Instagram Live. There wasn't somebody uploading the argument before the ambulance arrived. The street handled street business, and one thing was understood. Police were not part of the solution. You got robbed, you handled it. Somebody hurt your people, you handled it. Somebody knew something. They kept their mouth closed. And I understand that mentality. I understand where distrust comes from. I understand communities that didn't believe the system treated them fairly. But understanding a code doesn't mean refusing to examine what that code eventually produces. Because here's where young people get confused. They hear stand on principle, good. They hear don't betray your people, good. But then somebody slips another rule inside there. Follow your people even when they're destroying themselves. That's where I get off the train. If my brother is about to walk into something that could cost him his life, my loyalty isn't helping him do it. My loyalty might be standing in his face saying, nah, we ain't doing that. Nah. Now, which friend do you want beside your son? The one yelling, let's go, or the one willing to get called scared by saying don't go? Because he wants everybody coming home safely tonight. Now, the jewel in that, Ron. Loyalty without judgment becomes obedience. When your brother is headed towards destruction, do you prove loyalty by following him or by stopping him? Put that in the comments. That's what I want the class to rule on. Now we're gonna take a ride, right? We're gonna take a ride into Tupac makes this conversation uncomfortable. Tupac definitely makes this conversation uncomfortable. And here's where this gets complicated. Because somebody's already yelling at the screen, Unique, Pac wasn't going to go to the police. I know somebody's saying that Pac wouldn't have went to the police. And I hear you. A former Las Vegas police officer later said that after Tupac was shot, he reportedly tried to get Tupac to identify who did it. According to that officer's account, Tupac refused to answer the question and instead cursed at him before losing consciousness. Now I want y'all to picture that. Look at Tupac's picture on the screen. It said that a former Las Vegas police officer later tried to get Tupac, right, after he was shot, to identify the shooter, and he cussed him out. That part, that's the part why this conversation is so powerful. Because Tupac publicly embraced the word thug, even had it tattooed on his stomach. He described his idea of thug life as a mixture of the street element and the self-determination politics he inherited from his family. Now, so it's easy today to create a movie in our heads to say Pac would never want this. Pac would want street justice. But hold up. We don't get to freeze a dead 25-year-old man forever because Tupac also changed. He was changing. In 1995, in an interview from prison, he said thug life was dead to him and that he was tired of representing it. That's the contradiction. That's the real human being, not the poster, not the mythology, a young man wrestling with what that identity was costing him while he sat in prison. So here's the uncomfortable question following right through this trial. Which Tupac are we talking about? The angry young man who didn't trust police? The artist talking self-determination? The prisoner reconsidering what thug life had become while he sat in the prison? Or the 55-year-old man he never got the opportunity to become? That's why I won't sit here and tell you that Tupac would want today. I can't tell you what he'll want today. He never got to today. And that might be the darkest jewel in this story. Violence doesn't only kill the person you are. It kills every version of you that never gets the chance to grow. Who knows what Tupac believed or would be believing right now at 55? And isn't that exactly what was stolen from him? Now, because we like to ride, street justice has a hidden sentence. What do you think that hidden sentence is in street justice? Put it in the comments. People say street justice. That sounds clean when you say it fast, right? Street justice. But I slow it down. What does street justice actually require? Somebody has to retaliate. Then somebody retaliates for the retaliation. Now, somebody's brother is involved. Somebody's cousin, somebody's friend, somebody's son. One act doesn't cost the account. That one act don't close the account. It opens another one. That's why street justice rarely has a courthouse ending. It has generations. We got 3 generations that went by. Would Tupac want this handled in court or on the street? Put it in the comments. And that right there is the psychological prison that we're about to enter. Imagine knowing pieces of what happened and carrying it a year after year after year. You can't tell the police. You can't betray the code. You can't undo right. You can't bring Tupac back. You can't completely bury what you know either. People think silence means peace. No, sometimes silence just means the war moved inside your head because these people had to carry this knowing that they know something about what happened that night with Tupac when he was murdered. And they said nothing. And now the trial is playing out and they got to wrestle with their demons at night. And hear this on the news, all on YouTube, everywhere they turn. I'm talking about sometimes silence just means the war, like I said, moved inside your head. You wake up with it. You get married with it. You raise children with it. You turn 40 with it. You turn 50 with it. Then one day somebody knocks at the door. And that night from 30 years ago is back, sitting at the kitchen table, explaining to your family what's going on. Was the code protecting your peace or forcing you to carry the trauma alone? That's the question. And of course, we got to get into the jewel. Silence can protect information while still poisoning the person carrying it. At what point does keeping the secret becomes its own sentence, in your opinion? Now, let's look at Keffe D. We're gonna ride into Keffe D. And this is where the irony gets dark, because the case remained unsolved for decades. Then prosecutors said Keffe D's own public statements helped revive it. Interviews, memoirs, his descriptions of being inside the car, his statements about obtaining and passing the weapon, those statements now from a major part of the prosecution case. His defense argues those accounts are unreliable, exaggerated, or fictionalized. And again, he has pled not guilty. Now, think about the contradiction. The culture says, don't talk. Then fame arrives. Documentaries arrive. Podcasts arrive. Books arrive. People start asking about the biggest unsolved murder in hip hop. And suddenly, the same story that everybody was supposed to stay and keep quiet becomes content on social media. That's the new street code collision. Silence when freedom is risk. Right? Silence when freedom is at risk. Talking when attention is available is what this man did. Which one is it? Are we standing on code or monetizing the code? That's what I want to know. Are we protecting loyalty or protecting reputation? What do you think Keffe D was protecting? Because that's where ego speaks through the back door. Everybody wants to be known as somebody until the government says, okay, tell that story again in front of 12 jurors and let's see what they say. Attention makes people tell stories they once promised to take to the grave. When does telling your truth become feeding your ego, and who gets to decide the difference? The people who kept quiet paid too. Let's ride into the people that saw something and didn't say nothing the night of that crime. Here's another part nobody discusses. We always talk about the victim. We talk about the accused. We talk about the police. We talk about the lawyers. What about the people who knew pieces? Not necessarily everything, but pieces, enough pieces to solve this case, but they carried it with them for 3 decades. And you know it's gotta be people out there, because Keefe D is the star witness against himself, and Suge Knight said under no circumstances will he be coming. How do you feel about Suge Knight saying that he under no circumstances will be coming, and whoever called him, it'll turn out ugly for them? What does 30 years do to somebody carrying that? You hear Tupac on the radio, you see another documentary, every anniversary comes around, somebody asks, who really killed Pac? and you're sitting there with information you can't unknow. Now, loyalty tells you, keep it there. Conscience might tell you something different. Family might tell you, leave that old life alone. Fear says, don't get involved. And survival says, you made it open. You made it out the game. Don't go back. That's 4 prisons at once. Picture that. 4 prisons I just labeled at once. You got fear, loyalty, trauma, and don't forget your memory. You don't need steel bars for something to become a prison. So get that thought out your head. How many people survived the street physically, but carried the street psychologically for the next 30 years? Put that in the comments. Let me know what you've been carrying for the last 30 years. Now, coming home isn't always the same as getting free. If the secret still controls what you can say, where you can go, and what you fear, how free are you really? Think about that. The family doesn't get to live by street code. Now, take Tupac out of the mythology, Ron. Take away the tattoos, take away death row, take away Machiavelli, take away the platinum records. A mother lost a son, brothers lost family, people who loved him had nearly 30 years without final answers from a criminal court. Tupac's family has publicly described the long wait for accountability and clarity surrounding his death. Street code tells the people inside the conflict how to behave. But what code does the mother get? What code does the child get? What code does the sister get? Nobody asks them whether they agree to this. That's the selfish part violence hides. The shooter makes a decision. The retaliation crew makes a decision. The street makes a decision. Everybody else gets sentenced. Family sentenced to grief. Children sentenced to absence. Friends sentenced to memory. Communities sentenced to repeating the same stories. Now, the jewel in that. Who gave the street permission to hand out sentences to people who never volunteered to be a part of the game? Who gave the streets permission to give a mother a sentence of grief, a child a sentence of growing up without a father, and a community a sentence of never knowing the answer and have to speculate for decades? Every violent decision creates innocent co-defendants in the consequences. When one man chooses retaliation, how many people end up serving time emotionally with him? When you go out there, let's ride. When you go out there and you decide to gangbang, commit a crime, do a scam, put your hands on a female, whatever you choose to do, how many people end up getting sentenced emotionally with you by being there to hold you down? Let's ride out. This is where street code has to evolve. I'm not telling young men have no code. I'm saying get a better code. Stand on your word, stand on your family. Don't betray people for personal gain. Don't manipulate people, don't use people, don't send somebody else to destruction while you stay safe. That's like that OMB trial, only my brother. That's going on. They're accusing them of sending underlings to carry out a hit. Don't help your brother throw his life away. Add this. Don't turn pride into a funeral. Add this. Don't let somebody use loyalty to turn you into a crash dummy. Ain't that the record that Gucci Man made for Pooh Shiesty? Don't let a 5-minute beef create a 30-year consequence. That's evolving. That's what you call evolution. You know what I mean? Because some people act like changing the code means becoming soft. No, if the old code keeps sending us to graveyards and prison, refusing to change, that's what's weak. Now, what kind of man sees the same outcome generation after generation and refuse to update the lesson? Put that in the comments. Principles should preserve your dignity, not destroy your future. If a code keeps producing prison and funerals, is changing it betrayal or is that leadership? Put that in the comments. Now, we're gonna talk about the dark reality. We're gonna talk about the dark reality of retaliation, because that's what we have a lot of. And I'm sorry, yo, make sure y'all put a like in the comments. Like I said, you already know the routine. I got the little 100,000 joints, so this ain't about nothing. But what we're dealing right now is, now we need you to hit the like, put a comment, put an emoji, put something, because that's how you get this video out so the young people can see it. You got that? This is not it. Your likes, your comments, and all that is what did it. And make sure you cop the book of Roaring Harlem at roaringharlem.com. And make sure you cop my man's book right here. Let's not forget Fabby, Money Men, by Fabby. And I'm gonna give you one, right? Because, y'all like when I do the prison stories and I kind of laid back. This right here is Everything You Wanted to Know About Prison by Michael Lee Wood. Gotta get this book. Now, let's ride back into the story. The dark reality of retaliation. This entire Tupac case circles back to one thing prosecutors allege: retaliation after the MGM Grand fight. The government alleges the shooting followed an altercation involving Tupac members of his entourage and, Keefe D's nephew, Orlando Anderson. Rest in peace to Orlando and Tupac and Biggie and all the other fallen soldiers. Look how fast that night moved. One confrontation, one humiliation, one emotion, one need to answer back. And now we're discussing it 30 years later. That's what anger hides from you. Anger only shows you the next 5 minutes. It doesn't show you in 2026, back in 1996. Ego says, you can't let it go. Wisdom says, what happens if I don't? That's the question nobody likes asking while everybody's adrenaline is high. Now, which makes more strength? Answering disrespect immediately or seeing 30 years ahead while everybody around you can only see tonight? That's where we at right now. Anger is short-sighted. Consequences have perfect vision. How many lives would look completely different if somebody had thought 10 minutes past the disrespect on what the outcome would have been? Now, I'm gonna ride in to my message to the younger brothers watching this. Younger brothers, don't hear this story and think I'm teaching you how to cooperate with police, because we're not doing that. That's not the point. I'm teaching you how to avoid ever needing this conversation. Don't get in the car. Don't carry somebody else's revenge. Don't prove loyalty through destruction. Don't become evidence. Don't become a defendant. Don't become another photograph somebody puts on a t-shirt. That's prevention. Because once something terrible happens, every option gets ugly. Talk, don't talk, testify, don't testify, retaliate, walk away, Now fears involved, now lawyers are involved, now families are involved. The winning move happens before all of that. Don't enter the situation in the first place. Everybody talks about standing tall once trouble arrives. I'm trying to teach you how to stand smart enough that trouble never gets your address. Would you rather be praised for surviving the code or be wise enough never to need the code? Put that in the comments. The best prison story is the one you never have to live. That's why I'm here to tell you my lived stories, hoping to deter you from going down that path. What prove you can survive consequences when discipline can help you avoid them? Now, the final lesson, huh? The final lesson. Here we are 30 years later. So when you watch this Tupac trial, don't only watch Keefe D, watch the years, 30 of them. Watch the retaliation course. Watch the silence course. What did it cost them to remain silent? Watch the reputation course, watch the loyalty course, watch the ego course, and don't make Tupac into a cardboard cutout either. He was complicated. Rest in peace to Tupac Shakur. He talked thug life. He talked self-determination. He also talked about changing, about responsibility, about being tired of what that identity had become. Maybe that's the lesson we're supposed to get. A man can believe one thing at 21 and understand something completely different at 41. If he gets to be 41, that is. Tupac didn't. That's what violence stole. Not just the rapper, not just songs, not just albums. Time evolved, and every young man flirting with the street mythology needs to hear that clearly. You might believe today, I'm built for this. Maybe you are, but are you built for 30 years of consequences? Are your children, is your mother, is your wife, your future wife? Is the 60-year-old version of you? That's where the fantasy ends. Never forget that. The streets tell you loyalty means never changing the code. Wisdom asks whether the code is worth passing to another generation. Now answer this, class. After 30 years of funerals, prisons, and trauma and silence, what exactly are you still protecting in this case? The streets are real, prison is realer, and your future is worth more than both. Now I'm gonna ask y'all 10 questions before I go. I know we 3 minutes over class, 4 minutes, because we at 34 minutes right now. When does loyalty become self-destruction? Was 30 years of silent strength or 30 years of unsolved trauma, unresolved trauma? Does refusing to cooperate always equal principle, or can fear hide behind the word loyalty? Now, which Tupac should people remember? The 25-year-old street warrior or the man who was already questioning thug life before he died while he sat in that prison cell? Is street justice really justice if innocent families inherit the consequences? Who's the better friend? The one who rides with you or the one who stops you from crashing? Make sure y'all answer these questions in the comments. If the code keeps producing graves in prison numbers, when does leadership require changing it? How much responsibility does a man have for the people who follow his decisions? Can somebody physically leave the streets while still being mentally imprisoned by what they know? Think about that. Can somebody physically leave the streets while still being mentally imprisoned by what they know? After almost 30 years, what did silence actually save? That's all I want to know. After 30 years, what did silence actually save? Now, let me get a last jewel. I got to give y'all a last jewel. Don't answer the question based on what sounds toughest. Answer it based on what you would want your own son to survive. Now, been on here long enough. I'm going to show you why I do what I do. Let me introduce you to a beautiful young lady that I ran into, and then we're going to do, we're going to do a couple of other people, so just sit back and let's enjoy the ride.
I just want to give a shout out to Unique Mecca Audio. He is so dope. I had the experience of actually meeting him in person. I've been a fan for 2 years, watching his story and watching his videos on YouTube. He is the bomb.com. Harlem, legendary, kingpin, real, official. As soon as I sat down by him, I knew like it was like a different energy, a different vibe. But then once I hear his voice, I'm like, oh my God, is that him? I'm all fanned out. Like, it was such an experience getting the chance to meet him and, being a fan of his YouTube channel and just following him for the last 2 years and knowing his story and seeing his interviews. And I support him 1,000%. And I'm subscribed to his YouTube. You should go and subscribe as well. Amazing.
Hey, what's going on, man? Murder Mook, Harlem, you know what it is, man. I just want to express how much gratitude I got for Unique, you know what I mean? I was telling him a story, telling him how I felt about, if anything was to go wrong with my career, rap-wise, if, should be slow, and I got so many opportunities to be able to do the wrong shit. When I watch Unique Mecca Audio, I feel it, and to my soul, and that's keeping me farthest away from doing anything criminal. Anything criminal. He made me think straight, honestly. Made me think straight, because I've been watching him for about a year, like a year now, maybe, and it just took my mind way off of that. From a year ago, it got rough. For a year ago,
Yeah.
and from watching this man, I just felt like you saved me. You saved me. And I just want to show my gratitude, and I want to say thank you, man. Unique Mecca Audio, anything you need, brother, from me.
All right.
Anything you need, man.
All right.
What's going on, people? What's going on, man? You got your boy Lodestone out here in Harlem. I'm from the BX. I'm with Unique Mecca Audio. You know what I'm saying? It's a good vibe with the OG. I advise everybody, if you want to hear real spill, real shit, no cap, tune in. Tune in and hear what the OG got to say, man. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna give you all the truth, man. He gonna give you that real shit, man.
Let's go. Hey, yo, tune in to Mecca Audio, man. Unique, man. Listen, man. I'm a young OG. I knew him since I was young. I used to be in Mecca Audio Studios. Great, man. I'm Ra from Tupac Against the World album. You can check my credentials. This is a good man, real man. Mecca Audio. I've been on this, man, since I was a little young lad, man. Before Tupac album, before I even did the outlaw shit and all that, man. Holla at me, man. And tune in to Mecca Audio Unique, man. Holla at us, man.
Hi. I watch Unique Mecca's YouTube, and it's amazing. Like, his whole story is so nostalgic. It's so, like, Harlem. It's so, like, 1980s. It's so 1999. I've been watching his channel for about 2 years, and it's very informative, and it's real. You don't really get the real deal from everybody, but with him, you definitely gonna get the whole real story. This is a Harlem legend, kingpin, legendary. I'm so happy to just even meet him and be in his presence. Like, his channel is very informal, and if you subscribe, you're gonna be just like me, a fan.
All right.
Here with the OGs, you already know. Unique Mecca Audio. If you ain't tapped into Unique Mecca Audio, I don't know what you tapped into. I'm talking about real streets. I'm talking about real entertainment. I'm talking about real YouTubing, real getting to that bag. But I'm talking about a real OG that changed their life, yo. I changed my life the same way. And real OGs like that push me further to change my life. You hear me? Come look. Look what's going on out here. This Harlem. I'm a Brooklyn boy. So I only tap in with OGs like Mecca, man. Because I'm telling you, if you're not tapped into Unique Mecca Audio, I don't know what you're doing, man. Show them the scene, OG. They playing themselves. Congratulations, you played yourself.
What's good, y'all? This New York Chuck. Yeah, and this Erupt One. Yo, you know, we just here, we out here in Harlem, you know what I'm saying? We out here, you know, rock birthday party. You know, but this party right here brought out a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And one of the people that this party brought out was like a cornerstone in Harlem, like, you know, I'm talking about with the music, getting money, doing all, and, you know, actually, like a lot of us, we took a page out of his book, you know, to get where we became in life, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna shout my guy out. Shout out to Unique Mecca Audio. You know what I'm saying? He bring y'all real street knowledge. He got all the gangsters on his pod. We Harlem, we the streets. You know what I'm saying? Tune in to Mecca Audio TV, man.
No
on
doubt,
YouTube.
no doubt.
On God, yo. One love for Unique, man. We love you, bro.
Shout out to Harlem. Shout out to Jersey.
I'm like, oh my God, is that him? I'm all fanned out. Like, you know, it was such an experience getting the chance to meet him and, you know, being a fan of his YouTube channel and just following him for the last 2 years and knowing his story and seeing his interviews. And I support him 1,000%. And I'm subscribed to his YouTube. You should go and subscribe as well. Amazing.
What you got from the channel?
History, how hard it is to be in jail, the right and wrong moves to make when you outside. How one wrong move will cost you a whole lot, to be better, to do better, a lot of stuff. You'll get a lot of stuff from his channel. You know, it's very informal, and you know, whatever that means to you, you'll definitely take a piece with you. Like this is a good YouTube channel, honestly.
Tell them who you on, where they can find you.
Okay, I'm Cora. You can find me at Instagram on Why Hate on Her, and yeah.
Cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops. Mecca Audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be whoring uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now you trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the